Okay, we get it. All you really want to do is fire Rightmove up, look at some properties and get going, right? But how's that working out for you so far? Even if you manage to find something of interest, do you categorically know that this property is right for you and your business model? You sure it's the best use of your capital, and this property is the one that fits who you are now and who you want to be in the future? I'm guessing no. And that's because most likely you don't know the answers to the questions that I've just asked. I'm guessing at this stage of your property journey, you're just a bit lost. You've probably watched a bunch of videos, read some books, hopefully one of them was mine, but you still don't know what to do first, let alone how to do it. But that's where we come in. We've made this video as a tool to help you with your very own to-do list. So welcome to YSL Property Training. My name is David Tan, and this is how to set your property foundations. Now, if you work through this list as demonstrated in the video, you'll have yourself a bunch of jobs that will not only keep you busy for the immediate future, but they'll create some foundations, some solid foundations for you and your property business. Not only that, they'll start to clear your thinking since you'll be increasing your education in the right areas as you advance, which in turn brings that holy grail of confidence to your journey. So regardless of what you've been doing previously, we need to press pause and do things right if we're to be successful. Now, before we begin, let me ask you one question, and you should think about the answer very carefully before you proceed. The question is, why are you watching this video? And that might sound like an odd question right now, but consider it for a minute. Are you watching this video because you genuinely want to learn, because you want to understand exactly what's missing from your research and you want to implement it? Because in actual fact, you've watched countless hours of YouTube videos, you might have even done a couple of free property courses or webinars, but you still feel lost, overwhelmed, confused, and completely unsure when to start. Well, if that's the reason, then there are underlying problems here. Either you haven't come across the right type of video yet, or your system for filtering poor quality sales-driven education versus good quality responsible education isn't refined yet, or you're the problem. Yep, you are the problem. What? How dare I, right? Okay, that last one might sound a little harsh, and it's obviously not my intention to offend you here. It's just to offer some consideration. Because the counter argument to why you're watching this video is because you want to procrastinate some more, you want to watch countless more hours of YouTube videos, hit some social media, talk about property, or read a few more property or success related books because it gives you the illusion of action and progression. Now, it's worth mentioning here that your brain really can't distinguish the thought of action and the act of action. So if we're engrossing ourselves in content daily and it's not the right kind of content, then advertently what we're doing is counterproductive since we're creating inaction by strengthening the wrong type of neurological connections within our mind. But that's a whole different video for a whole different day. So let's hope that the underlying problem is either your video choice or the systematic problem, and not the other more innate problem. Okay, so you've hung around to see what else we have to say. That's great. Now, the reason why I asked you that question is because how you proceed with this video, and crucially what you do after you've watched the video, will ultimately answer the question for you, because you can't hide from the truth. Remember, we all talk a good game, but only those who take action will progress to what they desire. Our actions demonstrate much more and speak far louder than our words or thoughts ever will. So if you're struggling with not knowing what to do in the first instance, or how to get started with your property journey, then after you've watched this video, there really will be no excuse except the ones that you fabricate. Ultimately, it will come down to what you do next with the information received, because no one else is going to do this for you, only you can help yourself. Your actions will determine your future. So before we get into the list, I want to tell you that we do have this as an editable checklist for free on our website. So no need to hit pause and grab a pen. Just watch the video in full and then head over to our site, download the checklist and begin to work through it. And I'll link that below as well as some other handy resources. Number one is time. How much available time do you have each week to spend on your property business? Bear in mind that different property investment models will require different amounts of times. And be realistic with your estimation, and if needed, be conservative. since indicating 15 hours but finding out you only do 8 will be detrimental to your success because it will negatively affect your mindset. Whereas being realistic and citing 8 but then carrying out 10 will have the opposite effect. Your first job is to calculate your time availability accurately, and we do have a calculator for this, and that will be linked below too. Number 2, education. How much education do you have? Now this is not only with property education and specific to the investment model, but with finance, with mindset, with strategy, with numbers and mathematics, and with business planning and execution. What you need to do is to rate your current education out of 10 and then note down exactly and in detail what it is you're going to do to increase this education. And we need to focus on our weaknesses rather than our strengths. Now you can swap this if you know what that is, and if not, just Google it, or you can strategize it. And there will be more on that later on in the video. And by the way, once you've rated this out of 10, take at least 2 points back off, because you've almost certainly overestimated, since we don't know what we don't know, right? The trick with this is to identify areas of weakness to work on. Number 3, capital. How much money do you currently have? And calculating this accurately will be crucial to your strategy and forward planning projections. When we calculate our capital, we not only look at our liquid cash, but also asset release or transfer, equity release in an existing portfolio or in your home, and also do you know how to calculate this accurately to see if it makes financial sense to do so, as well as to mitigate any fears that you or your partner might have. We look at disposable income, weekly or monthly. Essentially, can you top up your capital periodically? We look at joint venture capital, angel money access, or stakeholder capital. Now, when we talk about stakeholders, we're talking friends, family, and colleagues. Calculating this accurately at this stage will be crucial to your strategy and forward planning projections, since we need to adopt a completely different strategy if we have £10,000 in the bank than if we had £200,000 in the bank. Number 4 is our why. Carefully consider exactly why it is you want to invest in property. Now we need to consider, what is it about this why that will help maintain focus? What is it about this why that gives you determination to succeed? And what is it about this why that will motivate you when challenges present themselves? Remember, being rich is not a strong enough why. We need something that we can really lean on throughout our journey to help maintain mindset and focus. Because despite what you're led to believe, this business does require you to put in the effort, and there will be challenges, as there are in any business. Yes, it will eventually turn passive, but we have to get to that point first. Number 5, mindset. Do you have a fixed or a growth-based mindset? Have you taken the time to understand mindset in much greater depth? Mindset is something that will be fundamental to your success. Its importance cannot be overstated. Ignore this at your peril, guys. Do not bury your head and assume that you have mindset boxed off, or that this is not tangible enough at this stage. Mindset is what stops around 80% of people from progressing in this industry. So sorting out at this stage is paramount. Remember, by increasing your understanding of your mind, you're increasing your education in the right areas and in the right way. So it's a massive step forward. And if you're not convinced, then you'll just have to trust me on it. I have seen it all too often. Number 6 is our vision. What is your overall vision with your business? And where do you see yourself in the future? And at what point in time in the future does that happen? Do we know exactly what it is we want to achieve with our capital? Now, my advice here is not to look at the ultimate goal, but rather to look at the first significant change to your life or lifestyle. Now, some considerations for your vision might include, is there a monetary value you need to be able to leave your current job? Is there a monetary or time value that you can place that gives you the lifestyle that you're looking for? Can this be traced back to your why? How long are you able to reinvest your accrued income without using the money in the way you intend? Do you have a time frame on this vision? And finally, are the above answers plucked from the air, or are they done with careful consideration and planning? Number 7, control strategy. What is the avenue for controlling your portfolio and your business? Be sure to seek good advice about this, guys, since a limited company control strategy might be the on-trend approach. However, it's not always the right option for you given yours and your partner's income or standard rate tax allowances. Essentially, we need good advice from a good chartered accountant on limited company versus personal investment portfolio. Further to this, we need to look at each avenue and look what it would entail with regards to record keeping, admin, tax remittance, and so on. So speak to a good accountant and ensure that they take the time to find out about you, your position now and in the future, and explain all the pros and cons of each avenue. Number 8, investment model. What type of investor do you want to be now and in the future? And have you considered all of the implications, including but not limited to sourcing, refurb, logistics, and any financial impacts? Will you be hands-on, sourcing, viewing, refurbing, managing, maintaining, or will you be hands-off, having property sourced, refurbished, and managed by external contractors or agents? Or will you be a mixture of the two avenues? And if it is a mixture approach, which ones apply to you? Number 9, the numbers. What ROIs, yields, or cash flows are you looking for? If we don't take time to understand exactly what it is that we're looking for in these deals, then don't expect to make the right choice. Now, just for clarity here, there is no single figure that anybody can give you with any of these calculations that will determine if the deal stacks up, since we're all different and we will all look for different things within our portfolio. For example, some might go for a smaller cash flow because the property has been BRR'd, therefore your ROI will be far higher, and some might go for lower ROIs because they either really want these type of properties within their portfolio or they have a strong opinion on the capital growth of the area. There really is no right and no wrong, only what suits you. But establishing this at this stage, again, is crucial since it means we don't go into deals blind. This calculation is intrinsically linked to your vision, so work on these 2 points together. Number 10, where will you enter the market? So firstly, we have the price bracket. What value of property will you be looking to target? Be sure that you calculate the value of your investment with how much money you have to spend. This means looking at how many properties we're able to buy with how much money we have right now and in the future. This way, we're efficient right from the start. Secondly, location. Do you know exactly whereabouts in the country you will invest? You've just looked at the price point, so the next logical step is to look where in the country we can find these properties. Fire at Rightmove, yes, I'm telling you to fire at Rightmove, and start to locate these suitable areas now. Thirdly, property type and model. Do you know what model and what type you will pursue? Property types include single-lets, HMOs, serviced accommodation, and commercial buildings. Property models include buying and holding, this is for capital growth, turnkey, which gives instant cash flow, BRR for ROI and stretching or recycling your capital, flipping, which can help boost your initial working capital, and then we have rent to rent and lease options, which is the no money down approach. Finally, we have our KYCs, or know your customer. Have you considered your customer yet? Do you know exactly who it is you'll target with each property model and type? Now, in most cases, this needs considering before we start our property search, since some properties will suit some tenants and others will attract a different type of tenant. A prime example of this is a £50,000 ex-council house in the Bronx won't attract a nice, hard-working Harvard professor. Just like most other points in this list, we can't move on to finding and buying a property if we can't answer this question. Number 11, sourcing the property. Exactly how will you source your property based on location, infrastructure, crime rates, desirability, rentability, demographics, and availability, which of course is the big one at the minute. Remember, these need to meet your predetermined or ingrained personal values. Will you scour Rightmove yourself, visit the property auctions, approach sourcing companies, or target vendors in what is known as direct-to-vendor advertising? This one may be linked to the big three, being your time, education, and starting capital, so figure them out before you get started. Number 12, analyzing property. Do you know exactly how you will analyze the properties when you view them, and how you will check the feasibility of these properties when you're back from the viewing? We're not simply talking about mathematics here either. We need to look at the property's suitability to your model, as well as to ensure it's structurally sound and, more importantly, that you're not in fact buying a money pit. Number 13, financing. How will you finance the deals that you find? 1, use your own working capital. 2, JV money or JV partners. 3, using angel finance. 4, using leverage from a lender in a standard buy-to-let mortgage, and will this be interest only or repayment product? 5, will you use bridging loans? 6, P2P or peer-to-peer lending platforms? 7, do you have access to stakeholder capital? And number 8, will it be a blend of the above avenues? Now, don't simply select a mix of the above and move on here. Carefully consider these options and pursue the avenues, especially with your stakeholders. It's never too early to begin to have conversations with friends and family, or even work or business colleagues. Number 14, strategy. Have you considered developing an easy to follow and actionable strategy using the Wise Owl's patented model of establishing your DNA? That's diagnostics, navigation, and action. Essentially, identifying the vision, looking at the challenges or opportunities, then developing short and medium-term goals and objectives to achieving the goals, and then actioning these by prioritizing and diarizing. It's a long-winded book, but you should really consider checking out Good Strategy, Bad Strategy by Richard Rummelt to further understand the term strategy. And finally, number 15 is our network. Now, they say your network is your net worth. So have you looked at increasing your network through 1, Facebook, 2, LinkedIn, 3, local landlord associations, 4, local landlord groups and networking events, number 5, national landlord networking events, number 6, by visiting auctions, and number 7, by joining business clubs and other ways to connect with like-minded people. Remember, these don't all have to be property related. We need to expand our education in other areas too. And you will find stakeholders, JV partners, or even angel investors at all these events too. This should be done weekly, and your focus should be on quality, not quantity. Unfortunately, as is the nature of this, you will have to weed out the sales and the poor quality connections. Now, we can start to grow exponentially once our network increases, so focus on it and persist with it. So that's our 15-part foundation builder. Now, I promise you, if you work through the list, it will take some time, and it will fill your diary, and it will be challenging at times, but it will create momentum for your journey, which invariably will open more doors and avenues as you progress, growing exponentially until before you know it, you're really doing it. You're thinking clearer and you're creating tangible actions. Remember, there is no such thing as the one thing you need to do, or worse, all you have to do is this. You just have to set off with a task, maintain the momentum, and as Oliver Burkeman says in his book 4,000 Hours, stay on the bus. So that's it, guys. No dream selling BS. No hype to make you think you're going to quit your job next week, work a few hours a month and buy a Ferrari. It's just good, solid, and more importantly, honest education. It's now for you to decide where you go from here with what we've just talked about. Remember, action is the only thing that will make this work. If you head over to our website, you can see this video in a full printable blog format, which does include a very valuable downloadable tool for helping with your foundation plan, as well as many other tools and resources, and some free and paid for training courses. If you're looking to get some good, solid, ethical education, well done. You've just found the right company. Remember to click the subscribe button below and turn on your notifications for more upcoming expertly explained videos. Again, my name is David Tan, we're Wise Owl Property Training, and that was setting your property foundations in 15 simple lessons.